So basically, we have seen here that how if I have a number of function in a particular program, and if they are called in various other functions, then how they are interrelated with each other, that we have seen. Now if we concentrate on the part of calling and returning only within any two function, then you see in the last day we have seen that how this calling and returning is happening, right? So if we make a little practice on this with some other problem, for example, let's consider um, the program of swap two numbers. Swap two numbers. This is the program. So user has came with a number with a value, and what he want to swap. He want to see after swapping what happens. So if we consider that a case having no return from the child function, what that mean, let's write it first. So suppose I have the main function here. Okay, I have the main function here where obviously two variables at least required, int a and b, and assume that this a and b will be scanned from the user side. So just to make it little bit easier to realize, I'm assuming that a is hard coded by 10 and b is hard coded by 20. Okay, so presently the value, if I print the value a and b, it will print 10 and 20, something like this. I'm sorry, 10 and 20. And you see, uh, after this printing, if I call a function, say swap, I've given the function name as swap, and I have passed this variable a and b. And what I want that, suppose that you are the swap function. So I have given this data to you, and I have told you that swap this and show the result to the user. You don't need to return me the result. So what will happen? Naturally, I can say that swap is a void function. So I can easily write a void swap, right? After void swap, and I will take two variables here, say int x and int y. You may take int a and int b also. Okay, int a comma int b. The reason is that this a and b and this a and b is totally different. Although the name is same, but their location is different. The scope of this a and b is different. The scope with the scope of a and b, if I write over here. So already we have defined what is scope in my previous class, right? So you can check that. If you still have any doubt, you can check that previous video. Now over here I have just to swap it. Now what I can do, that means I have two um, variables here. For example, let's just consider it by two boxes. Okay, two boxes. One is x and one is y. It's contain 10 and it's contain 20, and I want to swap them. Now obviously it's not possible to swap without any third variable, at least what I can see right now. Anyway, this is possible, but to swap it we will take help of a third variable. What I can do, I can store this 10 over here first. So 10 will gets vanished and 10 is here. Now I can transfer this 20 over here. That is 20 will come and it will vanish. And then I will pass 10 over here. That is 3. So basically 3 lines of code for swapping. And let's name it Z. So here what I can do, I can put int Z and a very simple 3 lines of code that X will go to Z, Y will go to X and Z will go to Y, something like that, right? So X will go to Z means basically I can write that Z equal to X. Then whatever value of Y will go into X, that means I can say that X equal to Y. And whatever value of y, I mean, will be, the value of z will go to this value of y, which contains the backup of x. That means I can write here y equal to z, right? Now with these 3 lines of code, with these 3 lines of code, if I after this if I print the value of x and y in the order, because x means a and y means the b, so printing a and b and printing x and y are in the same order. So if I print x and y, what I will see, I will see that it's printing 20 and 10, right? As if the data has been swapped. Fine. And this program is technically correct. Now if I change the program a little bit, for example, change the program means I have told you that do one thing, you take this to value somehow and swap it and return the result to me. I want to show the result to the user that I want. Then how it is possible? First point is that you see, after swapping, after calling the swap function, if you again write print a comma b, you know what will be printed? It will basically print 10 and 20 again. I'm sorry, 10 and 20. It's not going to print 20 and 10. Why? The reason is that again the same reason will come, that is the scope, because scope of A and B was limited within the main function. So let's draw a simple diagram to realize it. So assume that this is our main function. So we have two variables here, 10 and 20. This is A and this is B. This is A and this is B. And this is the swap function we have written. So this is your x, this is your y, and another box is for z, because we have seen that there is 3 variables in this program, right, in this function. So at the time of calling, since I have called this swap function, a and b I have passed, so what I have done, that this a and a will gets copied. So basically I am passing a and b, basically that means 10 and 20. In other words, that means the value 10 that is present here and 20 that is present here will be copied into x and y. And you see, after having this some amount of transfer operation from one variable to another variable, ultimately what become the result? The result become in this x and y variable, we have seen the result become 20 and 10. That's why when we print x comma y, it will print 20 and 10. But problem is that you see this 20 and 10 is no how related with a and b. That's why when you are printing data in this swap function, it's printing the swapped value. But it is not going to reflect the original variable where the what was given from the user in the main function. So why? The reason is that you can say that, sir, you have not returned the result to the main function. Now question is that how I can return the result? Because my result is not only one value, it's a two value. Both value I have to return. But with respect to a function, if you go back to previous class, I had a very important observation I have discussed, that is a function cannot return more than one value in C language. That means if you write the return function, you can either return x or return y or you can return z, but it's not sufficient. So you cannot write return statement over here. So question is that without writing return statement, that means keeping this swap function void, how I can reflect the result in the main function. And the here to do this, a very important concept of the C language will come. That is what we call, let's write it. That is what we call pointer. So what is pointer? So let's introduce this pointer in a very brief way so that you can, you know, you can uh, connect the concept with this present situation. Technically, we can say that pointer is a variable that can store address of another variable. So this line is very easy enough to realize that pointer is a variable, a particular type of variable that can store address of another variable, but it is not clear that what is the reason for this. I mean, why I am going to store the result of, I mean, address of some another variable, right? So let's try to realize in a very simple way that if we write, say for example, a variable name as, for example, if we write a variable name, say int a, then what happens? If we consider this is the whole memory space and there will be a memory address will be allocated for this variable a whose address suppose 100 and which will be considered as variable a. So since this is the memory address, within the memory address you can store some data. That means you can store, for example, some value, for example a equal to 100, a equal to 10 suppose. So 10 will get stored in some binary form. I'm writing in a decimal form to, to realize in a simple way, but it is basically stored in some binary form, some set of bits, with a number of bits. What is the length of the bit? That depends upon the length of the length of the data line that's carrying the data to the memory location. So length of this memory location actually. Now, so this is a very simple variable. Fine. Now let's try to create a pointer variables. What I can do, I can say that let's write it int pointer p. First of all, forget about this int part. You see, so from this particular, you know, declaration of the pointer variable, one thing is clear, that you can declare any variable as a pointer variable. You know, to denote a variable as a pointer variable, actually you have to write a star before the pointer, before the variable name, first point, right? Next question will come that when we write a star before a variable name, what extra power this particular variable will achieve, so that my problem will get solved. I mean, my problem means this one, this particular problem. So let's try to realize it. So when we are defining this, forget about this int part. It's about the return, the data type. So I'm not interested in data type right now. Assume that this pointer p variable. Okay. So that means within the same memory space, you will have another memory location. For every variable, there is a memory location. That is for sure, right? Because variable doesn't, sync somewhere on the air, right? Variable must have some physical significance with respect to memory location, every variable. So that means this pointer p in pointer is just giving a extra power. Okay, so variable name is p. Okay, the variable name is p. This star is giving a extra power to this variable so that I can solve my problem. Now how can do, we can see very soon. So that means the variable name is p, whose address may be, say, for example, 200. So suppose the address of this memory location is 200, and what we have seen, that pointer is a variable that can store address of another variable. So that means I can store address of another variable within the content of p. So that means if you say, I mean, how I can store the address? I can say that, okay, let's write p equal to ampersand a. Ampersand mean address of, it means address of, so address of a, right? So that means what will happen? This address of a will get stored, and address of a we can see that is 100, at least according to present consumption. So this 100 will get stored in this pointer variable p, and because of this, what will happen? We say that since the p contain this 100 address, p can control the content of this address present, control the content present in this address. What, let's define it again. We can say that let's write it here so that we can, a pointer variable can control another variable uh, no, not another variable, I should say control, uh, let's write in a different, control the content of that variable whose address is stored within the pointer variable. What does it mean? It means since this pointer variable p contains this address 100, that's why this p can control the content of A. That means I can say that if I write printf percent d percent d A, and if I write printf percent d pointer p, both will print 10. In this second line is very interesting. You see here I have not yet written anything anything related with A. I mean I have not used A variable directly, rather I have written pointer P. Since P is the pointer variable and P contain the address of A, that is why P can catch the value of A. And this particular feature gives an enormous, you know, opportunity to break the previous limitations. What I mean? I mean previous limitation means the problem of swap, problem of the scope. We can resolve using this pointer variable. But remember one thing, there is a very important difference between pointer p plus plus and p plus plus. P can be a pointer variable or can be a simple variable also. Whatever, but it is a variable. That means its value can vary. Now, whether P really contain a value or a address of some another value, that depends on that P will become pointer. Now, since I have declared P as a pointer, you can never store a simple value within this P variable. Okay, you have to store some address, and that is why pointer variable is used. But at the same time, you must say one more point, that is always the return, I mean the data type of the pointer variable and the data type of the variable whose address is stored must be same. You cannot store address of a character variable in an integer pointer variable. You cannot store address of a integer variable in a character pointer variable. So they must be synchronized. Since A is integer, that is why when I've written this pointer P and my intention is to store the address of A within this pointer variable P. That is why when I declared pointer P, I used this integer data type. So what will be the data type of a pointer variable will depend upon which particular type of variables address it is going to store. Is it going to store address of a pointer integer variable, or a character variable, or a float variable, or something else? Depends on that. This data type will be fixed and fixed throughout the program. And what is the difference between these two cases? This is this particular this particular uh, is equivalent to A equal to A plus 1. You are increasing the content of A because pointer P means A. So pointer P and A are equivalent because P is a pointer variable and A address of A is present within this variable P. That's why this is this one, and this is mean equivalent to P equal to P plus 1. It's not A equal to A plus 1. That means if you do P plus plus, the content of P will increase. But if you write pointer P plus plus, if you write P plus plus, the content of P will increase. Content of P itself will increase. Maybe it will become 101 or maybe 102. Now when this content of P will become 101, naturally that moment P will never point this variable A because address of this variable A is 100. But if you write pointer P plus plus, then what will happen? This content of P will remain same. But wherever it is pointing, that's value, content will be increased. So 10 will become 11. So this is very important, regarding the pointer. If you want to work with a pointer, that's why this idea of pointer and how they are, they are connected with each other is going to be very vital, because a single mistake in the pointer will lead to, say, an enormous amount of error in the output. Okay. Now, if we see that how we can break the problem of scope, you see, we will see with this soon. That is, in this particular case, we have seen that it's not possible to have a swap function where I can print the swapped value within the main function. It is not possible, at least till now. But now, since we have idea about this pointer, now we can resolve this using this pointer variable. Now, what we will do? You see, in this particular case, we have seen that, for example, if we come back to this particular diagram, we can see that we are passing this values of A and B, right? That means, instead of this, we can do one thing, that is, let's draw the, swap case again. So we have a main function, and this is the child function, that is the swap function, as you know. And we all know that we have some variables here, that is A and B. So the variable A have address, suppose 100, variable B have address, suppose 200, content of A is 10, content of A is 20. Up to this one we know, right? Now, since now we have idea about this pointer, and we can see that using this pointer variable we can control any other variable, in that case scope will not matter, Wherever a present does not matter. Is it a can be outside scope of this variable p. But since p contains this address, it can control. So that means in this program, how we can modify this? Let's write it here again. We have main function. We have declared this int a and b, and a has been declared as 10 and 20. B has been declared as 20. And then in previous case we have seen that we have called this swap function. If you just forget about this print function right now, okay, I'm not interested. Interesting point is this swap function call. So when I call this swap function, we have seen that a and b. So what we have passed? We have passed this content of a and content of b. Instead of this, now basically what we will do, we will call the swap function again, but I will not pass content of a and content of b. Rather, I will pass address of a and address of b. When I'm passing an address, definitely a normal variable cannot hold it. I need a pointer because only the pointer variable can store the address. So that means if we define a void function in the same way, the function return type remains same, void swap. Now since I have passed this a and b, I have passed the address of a and b, I need two pointer variables over here to hold it, hold the address. So that means what will happen? I have this x and y here. So this is x whose address is say 500. This is y whose address is say 600. But interesting point is that this x is and y is not a simple variable. They are pointer variable. That means what you are passing here, in the previous case you passed a and b. But now we will pass ampersand a and ampersand b. That means we are passing 100 and 200. Right? Because ampersand a is 100, address of a. Ampersand b, address of b is 200. So 100 and 200, and they will get stored within this pointer x and pointer y. That means 100 will get stored within this x and 200 will get stored within this y. Now since this x is a pointer variable and x contain address 100, so from a previous concept we can say that this x can control this a and y can control this b. Now what I can do over here, you see, in a similar way we can say that I will take a third variable. But in previous case we have written that z equal to x because we assumed that this x contain value of a, but right now it's not contain value of a, rather address of a. So what I can do, I can write here not x, rather I can write pointer x, because since x contain address of a and y contains address of b, that means I can say that pointer x is equivalent to equivalent to a and pointer y is equivalent to b. Right? This is clear. Already we have seen in our previous this case like this. So that means instead of writing x, I will write pointer x. Similarly, since I can control this a and b using this pointer x and pointer y, I can write here pointer x equal to pointer y. and also I can write here pointer y equal to z. So when we are writing this one, what's happening in the back end? In the back end, you can say this is z equal to a, because pointer x means a, and this is equal to a equal to b, right? And this is equal to b equal to z. So this part is not visible to you, not visible to any programmer. But conceptually, when you are writing this code, actually happening this one. So basically, what's happening? Basically, you can say that although you are using x, y here, but ultimately they are reflected directly on this variable a and b. Because let's see one by one. Z equal to pointer x. So what will happen? There will be another variable z here. Suppose this is z and whose address is 700, and z equal to pointer x. So pointer x means what? 10. So z will come equal to 10. Fine. Then pointer x equal to pointer y. So whatever in pointer x will be transferred from the pointer y, and pointer y means b, means 20. So pointer x means a. That means this 20 will now, this 10 will get replaced by 20, right? And then pointer y equal to z. Pointer y means b and z contain 10. So that means I can say that now this b part will be modified and will be stored 10. That means although you have not used any return type, but using this pointer variable you can basically control the content of a and b present here. So that's why if you write print statement a and b, after this it will print 20 and 10. So data has really swapped within the actual variable that was given from the user side, right? So that means we have seen basically two different strategy of passing the parameters. In this case we have passed the value of a and b, and in this case we have passed the content of, address of a and b. That's why a function actually categorized in two way. Okay, let's categorize it first. One is called actually function parameter passing, actually in two way, and depends on that cat function is categorized in two way. One is called uh, a function with call by value, and another function with call by reference, and this reference is also called, you can say, address. Actually reference mean address. So these two different type of function we can have, and four different cases. Okay, so any one you can use any of the four cases with this call by value. Also you can use any of these any of the four cases that we have described in previous class, using for the call by reference. So it totally depends upon the programmer which particular case and which particular type of function will be used at which point of time. So we can stop the call by, discuss about call by reference over here for today. We will see in the next class then how we can use this call by reference for problem some for solving some more complex problems.